the only podcast that dives deep into post-purchase marketing to help Amazon sellers increase sales, ranking, reviews, and profits. It's everything that happens after the initial sale that makes a difference. We call this the back end.
And welcome back to the Post-Purchase Podcast. We have another special guest talking about something that is very relevant today. Excited to bring back one of my favorite guests from long ago, Mr. Burak Yolga from ForceGet. Burak, welcome to the Post-Purchase Podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me back, Seth. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it, Burak. What is going on in the Amazon space right now? How can we make more profit? In your world, you handle all things logistics, which is a massive component of profitability for a lot of sellers. So let's talk about it. What is going on right now and how do we make more money out there?
You know, so many things are happening, man. I mean, especially the new FBA fees. Obviously, everybody's talking about this, especially the long-term storages increase a lot. Amazon's new placement fee, as well as low inventory fee. And, you know, people are really confused, include like Amazon's people. They have announced all these new fees, but then they kind of postpone them to people to understand like in 1 month, and then they postpone it another 15 days. So nobody really knows how they can calculate their existing products. So in my opinion, it's very hard for people to launch a new product, because why would you launch a new product? To make more profit. How would you make more profit? If you know your numbers. So if you don't know your own numbers now that you've been selling, how can you predict something that you don't know? So it's very hard for people to launch product recently, understand their profit, and then so many people are complaining. The payouts are really small, and so on. So many things are happening with FBA fees, especially low inventory fee and placement fees.
So, Burak, I know it's frustrating, isn't it, as an Amazon seller now to work and work and work, and then you have to invest so much capital into inventory. And then, like you said, every couple weeks when you get paid out, it's like, well, why isn't that very much? What can we do to alleviate some of that? How can we increase profitability? And then how can we help on cash flow, which I know you guys work on as well?
You know, I think people need to do a lot of tests, Seth. Honestly, it's very hard to answer that. But one of the things we started helping our customers to do an FBA fee audit with the tiers. I don't know if you are aware of that, but Amazon has announced like a new, like more tiers for the product sizes. So a lot of companies now, they're trying to, if they don't do it, we are recommending them to redesign maybe their package, redesign their product if it's possible, to make it like smaller. And another thing is, if you have some ASINs or some SKUs that are not selling well, you need to maybe destroy it versus you keep them in a longer term in the storage, which Amazon long storage fees are like getting more and more. That's one thing. I think a lot of people should be looking at from the perspective, how much money I'm spending now on the FBA fees, you know, how much Amazon is charging. How can I reduce my product one tier down so I can cut 7%, 8%, 10%? So this is a really something people can use it in their strategy right now to see how they can save money. The second thing, in my opinion, is to see how much they've been paying for the storage fees. And if in the long term you don't have a good sales PSR, if you don't have a good ranking, if you know that the product is going to sit in the storage and Amazon FBA, then you should maybe destroy it or take the product back. So we are helping companies to analyze this. This is the second thing. And the third thing, in my opinion, to keep the right inventory level, which Amazon's low inventory fee, in my opinion, is something crazy, because basically they're telling you you need to keep enough inventory for your average sales last 30 days to 75 days. You need to keep that in the inventory always in FBA. And if you go below that, we are going to charge you for a certain amount of money. So basically, Amazon is going to charge the amount of money that you're supposed to keep it in the storage. So they actually assign a space, which I'm coming from the supply chain background, from a warehousing space. And I know that I sometimes allocate a space to a customer, I keep it empty, but then they decided not to ship anything, and then that space is wasted. So that's what Amazon is doing, and we see their annual and quarter reports that they make good money recently, they make profit, but then it's definitely going out from the seller's pocket actually.
Yeah, for sure. So, Brock, I want to talk to you from like an entrepreneur running a service business. Like, what are you doing to grow ForceGet right now? I know it's a little bit different of an environment than it was a few years ago. So, what's going on in ForceGet? What are you doing to actively grow?
We are investing a lot in the software. We were the first actual digital freight forwarder in the industry for Amazon sellers. And now we are becoming more like a supply chain company. If you don't know what is it, we are building now additional tools in our platform and insert them, such as, forecasting, FBA fee calculators. We are helping companies to do reimbursements. We help them to submit their purchase orders to factories. So basically, what we're trying to do is we track every single step of this international business, production, international shipment, fulfillment, and more importantly, Amazon checking times. Like we're creating, see how many % of the shipments are delivered on time, the fulfillment centers performances. One of the biggest issues that recently we see is the Amazon checking times are very long. So sometimes Amazon distributes the product to 30, 40 fulfillment centers. It takes sometimes 45 days to fully check in the product. So we track this entire life cycle of the product, and we start recommending our customers to place an order from their manufacturers, let's say from China or from fulfill their 3PL. I think one of the most important thing right now for sellers to use a 3PL in the local market they're selling. If they sell in the Europe or UK or Canada, US, they should have a trusted 3PL where they can fulfill Amazon FBA very frequently but smaller quantities. In my opinion, the time is past the shipping from China to Amazon FBA direct unless you use AGL and AWD, which I think we really should talk about that today. So ForceGet basically see all these challenges for sellers, and we are always finding the solution for our customers and industry, and we're Amazon partner, UK, Europe, Australia, and Canada. So we work with Amazon and Amazon people a lot to see the challenges that sellers are facing. So we try to find a solution.
Yeah, I love it. So recently, Burak, we started a group of sellers called Seller Underground, and it's really a tight knit community of success or sellers helping each other become more successful. And one of the groups I saw the other day mentioned they were using ForceGet, and they were actually really happy. So that brought a smile to my face. And I just want to know from you. I know you won't plug it yourself, but like if a seller is trying to do this stuff on their own and then they start using ForceGet and having you guys help, like what is the change that happens? Like what's the biggest shift? What comes off the plate? How do they become more profitable? Like what happens if a seller goes from trying to do this on their own to having you guys help?
I would say the data, because we are the only company now in the Amazon space offering this international tracking, fulfillment tracking, the full circle. And probably you would spend less money on your PPC if you work with us. People will be like, international logistics and PPC, what's the connection? So basically what we do in our company is you can track your entire international shipments, fulfillments, and Amazon checking times. So you can basically have a better understanding when your product is going to arrive to the destination, delivered to Amazon. And then you can actually budget a better CPC maybe. You can reduce or decrease your rates or your budget. Because a lot of companies, they think that, I thought my shipment is arriving in 2 weeks, but actually it's delayed and arriving in 4 weeks. So if you keep running your PPC as the stock is going to come in 2 weeks, you probably will run out of inventory in that 2 weeks because you don't have enough inventory. So you could actually change your PPC strategy according to your inventory movement. This is one of the things. And Seth, we all know that some of the really large aggregators went out of the space, unfortunately, because they didn't manage their inventory correctly. They always ordered it, or they didn't order enough. One of the reasons was like they were trying to track everything with the Excel sheets, no digital tracking, no tracking history, no shipping history, no fulfillment history. So they used multiple freight forwarders, they used multiple 3PLs. So everything was like super disconnected. What we are doing in our company is one centralized solution. So that's the most important thing, and that's the future, in my opinion.
Nice. So, Burak, before the call, we were talking about AGL. and I know you have some good data on this. But for everyone who doesn't understand what AGL is, if you don't mind to explain it, and then let's talk about some of the changes that maybe we can take advantage of.
AGL is the Amazon's global logistics, which they came up with this project, excuse me, probably 2-3 years ago. And now they added additional service, which is called AWD, Amazon Warehouse Distribution Center. And one of the reasons why they came up with this new fee, which is called placement fee, Amazon wants to use their international logistics service as well as the fulfillment service, not only FBA but also AWD. And one of the advantage of in here is if you do that, Amazon is assigning you one fulfillment location. So basically, they say that if you use our company, we can deliver everything to one location. If you don't, if you want to choose your own freight forwarder, then you need to distribute the product to 5 different locations, which at the end, for a lot of companies, it seems that it's going to be more expensive, but then they will have more control on their international shippings and supply chain. So a lot of brands, they've been trying AGL. It's really big service that Amazon is offering. AW is the same, but unfortunately, there are a lot of hiccups in the service, such as communication, the custom clearance, using the wrong HTS codes. One of our customers, they did a test shipment with AGL, and they lost almost $20,000 because Amazon Global Logistics used the wrong import tariff code, which they're supposed to pay $3,000 duty, but then they ended up paying $23,000. And then there's no way Amazon is going to return this money back because you don't even know who are you talking to overseas. And another person, they had their container went to an examination, and it took them almost 48 weeks to solve the problem, all the extra costs, and they ran out of inventory. So I don't think that sellers should put all their eggs in the same basket when it comes to, it looks like Amazon is offering this additional services with great advantage for sellers, but we all know that every time Amazon come up with a brand new service, it takes really time to optimize it and make it more efficient. So I would recommend people to try if they feel like that's a good price, good option for their business, but they should be really aware of the time frames are really long, especially one of the features Amazon is promoting now is to do auto replenishment, which is from Amazon warehouse distribution to FBA locations, automatic fulfillment. But the transit times are so long, the transfer time between the AWD to fulfillment centers. And more importantly, they sometimes send too many units and then you can't sell it. Then you start paying a lot of extra fees for the longer term storage fees. So you really need to be careful. And so many people, they think that, oh, we want to automate everything, but I wouldn't really trust the entire automation system that Amazon is creating because, in my opinion, they have so many steps that they're missing right now.
Yeah. So, Burak, if you are an advanced seller, you do things a little bit differently than like a beginning seller or a seller that's doing maybe not quite so sophisticated. So, what are you seeing like the advanced, really profitable sellers do that the less sophisticated, more new sellers, what do they miss? Like, what can we make a shift there for everyone?
I think the advanced sellers now they're trying to use more tools and more softwares to understand like what will be the landing cost. I think that really affects eventually the decisions of how much they're going to make, how much they're going to sell the product, what are their fees. I think the advanced sellers are spending more time on understanding the different options, shipping direct from China to Amazon, shipping directly from China to with AGL, shipping to 3PL in the US and then fulfill. And they're kind of doing a cost calculation, which is interesting because Amazon basically saying that we're going to charge you 45 days later after this operation is over. So I think it's going to still take 2-3 months for companies to understand the fees, but then it's going to be brutal in the Q4 because a lot of companies, they need to start planning their Q4 orders. If they place the order now, it's going to take 30 to 45 days to production. And imagine you shipping in beginning of July, you assume that's going to arrive in mid-August, end of August. So it's almost September. So if you didn't plan your Q4 orders, you should, guys. And obviously you need to understand, and this is the right time. If you're going to place the order, big orders for Q4, think about how much you can save on the right FBA fees. So definitely resize, repackage everything that you have for best-selling items, and don't ship everything to Amazon directly. Do not ship everything directly to AWD, because you're going to lose so much time on this. So Seth, I think the bigger sellers are planning ahead of time versus maybe smaller sellers, and it doesn't matter, like 8-figure, 9-figure, 6-figure, nobody really knows the cost yet. So that's, I think, a big problem right now.
Yeah. I remember we redesigned one of our products. It was a half of an inch too long when it came to the length to bump us into the next category of fees, and the fee was significant. So we actually redesigned the product to be a little bit shorter. It didn't impact the usability of it, and we saved a lot of money, whereas our competitors were out there competing with the longer version. And so they were literally just making less profit because they didn't take the time to redesign. And I think that's some of the things that you're talking about. It's like, just plan ahead a little bit here. We can plan ahead in product design, but we can also plan ahead in freight, logistics, all of this, right? So great points, Burak.
Compared to 2 months ago, sorry about that, but compared to 2 months ago, the international shipping price increased 70%, 80%. So, and it's additional cost. So a lot of people are like, oh, we thought that the international shipping price will stay too low, but then shipping lines or airlines, they're not really making any money. So now it's making a little bit more balancing. So $2,000 from China to LA 2 months ago, now $5,000 from China to LA. So it's a huge cost increase. So when you work with a company like ForceGet, we calculate each shipment, what is your additional landing cost. So these like cost calculations and visibility is important, and you need to understand this much in advance.
Yeah. So before we move on to the last segment of our show, Burak, what should a seller know about ForceGet if they are considering trying it out, or do you have a special offer that maybe they can try out to see what you guys can do to help them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing is we will help them to validate their FBA fees. Like, I think that's the most important thing right now, because we're inventory specialized international logistic company. Basically, what we do is very different than any other company that are only software. We physically transport goods. We physically deliver the goods to Amazon by our own trucks or with other carriers. So we know how is their checking process. We know how the pallets build. We know how the boxes are delivered, check-in, distributed. We know we're middle of this. So anytime companies, they work with us, we have the expertise. Like every time they are facing to a challenge, we're like, look, this happened to us some time ago. Let us work on that. I think that's the most important thing to work, because there will be challenges. People will get like a bunch of punches in the face, different part of the body. This is Amazon world. We all know that nothing is smooth. Everything can go wrong, and everything can go wrong in a day or in 2 hours. So you should be working with an expert, especially in the international supply chain part, where we can help you with that. We offer a free first month storage in our warehouse in LA and New Jersey. So if people need to have an inventory that they need to keep a buffer stock to keep this low inventory, avoid this low inventory fee, 30 to 75 days sweet spot. So we offer a first month free storage in our LA warehouse, which is normally could cost like $500 to $700. So it's like a special offer for today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So first month's free for storage, helps with some of those costs. That's really cool, Burak. So Burak, the last few questions here are some of my favorites. I know we asked you them before, but I'm going to ask you them again. What is your favorite business book or training, something that you consume that's actually helped you grow a more profitable business?
I'm trying to get better habits day by day. So I like to read about what are the better habits that I can build every day. And we're growing our sales team. So I'm kind of implementing all those habits on the team meetings, and we are building a better team. And, recently I started doing a lot of, I'm doing a lot of content, to help people to avoid, train them, like teach them. It's really great to have that. Like, if you didn't subscribe to my YouTube channel, we are coming out every 2 days with the new shorts and reels and new YouTube videos about the supply chain, international logistics. So I'm learning every day, Seth, from the great people in the industry, as well as from my team and from our customers. And we do a lot of free consultancy, 15 to 30 minutes for each brand's tailor-made solution, whatever they need. So I learn a lot, and then we implement that to our system. So we talk to the sellers a lot and learn from them and understand their challenges, and we basically add this every day to our platform to make their life better.
I love it. So Burak, where should people go to find out more about you and ForceGet?
Everyone can visit ForceGet.com. And in our platform, we offer free Amazon. Our platform is free, by the way. We offer this as a as a support to our sellers. They can track their international shipments, warehouse movements. So I think it's a huge benefit. All the software around the world is with they charge money, and they can visit sales at they can go to ForceGet.com, or they can send an email, sales@ForceGet.com. It comes to me directly. And most important thing is they can ask for the free audit for their FBA fees. I promise people are going to save at least $3,000 after the first audit if they have plus 10 SKU. It's not a joke. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the software is free. The first month of storage is free. You're going to save you $3,000. You can't really go wrong here with everything's free. So, yeah, Burak, thank you so much, man. This has been amazing as always. Would love to have you back on again to give us another update on what's going on out there in the world of Amazon logistics. For now, this has been another episode of the Post Purchase Podcast. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.